engineering, I think better US is better option, and Canada.
Achha.
Yeah.
I'll say number one spot for masters for the engineering student, particularly with mechanical background, electrical. Now IT, they have started doing a lot with AI and data sciences. So, but for these two destinations, mechanical and electrical, I prefer that Germany. Students should prefer Germany. The first reason is that it's cheap. Obviously, no fees is there on the masters. On the STEM side, it's on the STEM side there is no fees except the admin fees. They charge about 1,500 euro on all the 3 semesters. So basically, masters goes for 1.5 year. So it's 3 semesters. So yeah, because US would be very expensive.
Yeah.
So
Canada again expensive.
1,500
Germany
euros.
will not cost them. Only thing that you have to open a spare conto account, which is like your money into your account, which will be like around 800 euros. You will get it every month back to you to utilize your, so that you don't claim any benefits or any student stuff. So 800. I don't know now what's during my time it was 720 euro. I heard now it is 840 euro. So 840 euro multiplied by 12, that's the money you need to put into your account. Basically, it is your money for you only, dispense every month. So
that's really useful. अभी मेरे ख्याल से अभी और लोग आ जाएं तो I think this is a very good point to make ना लोगों का. I don't think क्योंकि जैसे अभी like Sana said I think a lot of people will be put off by the cost ना यहाँ पे आने की. तो अगर ये option है तो it might be a good option.
Yeah, so like Germany, Sweden is also a very good option because they're very good universities, especially in current computer science. So
right. चलिए मेरे ख्याल से शुरू करते हैं. I think Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope everyone can hear us, and I see everyone's got their name. So if possible, just rename yourself with your actual name, so it's easy to address you. So I think I think you're all from Hyderabad, so you might be okay with Urdu. So we'll stick to English, but if we switch and you don't understand, just let us know. So this session is basically, to answer questions about, you might have about, I think it's mostly about postgraduate studies in India. What prospects you have after postgraduate studies, whether or not to go for postgraduate studies, if it's worth it or not, what kind of postgraduate studies, and we can also answer questions about what else you can do apart from postgraduate studies. So like come to Europe or outside India, options outside India. So we'll keep this as a question and answer session. So we'll start off with introduction. So I'll just get the panel to introduce themselves, and then if you have any questions, we can start taking them. So you can either unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can write it in the chat box and we'll pick it up from there. So can I start with some introductions, please? So we'll start off with Mr. Khalid Khan, who's आपने PhD, sorry, Dr. Khalid Khan?
Ji. I'm Khalid Khan, lead engineer in Alstom, one of the rail manufacturers. I did PhD in control systems from University of Leicester, masters from IIT Bombay, and of course BTech from AMU. And at the moment, I am industrial liaison officer for Institute of Engineering and Technology in the UK, and also I am registration advisor for senior engineers who want to register themselves as chartered engineer. So official mentor in my company, and also mentor other engineers from other companies.
Okay, and just a quick note. If everyone wants to, if you're comfortable with it, just turn your videos on. Maybe just this. We'll keep this as informal as possible. It's not a formal meeting, so we'll try and keep this as informal a discussion as possible. So it'll help if you have your videos on, or if you're comfortable. Okay, next person, if you want to introduce, Jay, please.
My name is Shakib. I've also I have completed my bachelor's in electronics engineering from Aligarh, and then I completed. I worked in a lot many companies. Like I worked in Cyprus, I was in US, I worked in Saudi. I worked with Siemens, and I was a project manager there, managing the oil and gas projects. In between, I moved to Germany to do my MBA, and after MBA, then I went to Florida to work on. I worked there for 2.5 years. Now I'm back to UK and I'm into business now. I left the work and I do. We provide meals for cancer patients who have problem in swallowing the meals. We provide pureed meals, level 4, 5, and 6, mainly to cater the cancer patient.
Okay. Jazakallah Shakib bhai. Mashallah. Kashif bhai.
Yeah, so I'm Mohammad Kashif. So I did my electronics engineering from Jamia. I worked in Aligarh, and then I worked for a Large Hadron Collider experiment in Geneva. I lived in Italy for 1 year doing a research for research project in University of Cagliari. And for the last 9 years, I'm in Oxford. I'm working for University of Oxford. For the first 7-8 years, I worked for a great computing project. But for the last 3 years, I'm working in information security team here at Oxford. Now I'm head of Oxford, which is Oxford's computer emergency response team. I also did a master's in software and system security from University of Oxford. So I can help in, I can explain.
Jazakallah. Thank you, Kashif bhai. Munir.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. I am Munir Azam Khan. I am fairly new in UK and young as well as compared to you all. So I did my engineering in electrical engineering in 2008. After that, I did post graduation from IIT Delhi in 2010 while working with Delhi Metro. I worked with Delhi Metro for 9 years. After that, in 2009, I moved to 2017. I moved to UK in AECOM. So I am basically a railway engineer here.
Okay, mashallah. Thank you, Munir. हम लोग भी young हैं यार अभी.
I was going to say that you don't say this.
रियान भाई.
तो मेरा नाम रेहान जैदी. मैं उर्दू में बोलूँ तो मेरे ख्याल से बेहतर होगा. रेहान जैदी. मैंने 98 में अलीगढ़ से कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग मुकम्मल की थी. उसके बाद यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ लंदन से एमएंज और एमफिल ऑब्टेन किया था. उसके बाद से आई स्टार्टेड आईटी इंडस्ट्री में और पिछले 15 साल से साइबर सिक्योरिटी में स्पेशलाइज कर रहा हूँ. आजकल मेरा रोल डायरेक्टर साइबर सिक्योरिटी ऑर्बिया में है. ऑर्बिया इज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी, ग्लोबल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉन्ग्लोमरेट. काफ़ी मेडिसिन में, प्लास्टिक्स में, काफ़ी एरियाज में उनका वो है. तो काशिफ के साथ आई थिंक काफ़ी बनेगी क्योंकि मुझे इतला नहीं थी. मुझे काफ़ी छोटा सर्कल होता है साइबर सिक्योरिटी डोमेन में, तो मुलाकात रहेगी. एंड आई एम लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू आंसरिंग एनी क्वेश्चंस दिस ग्रुप माइट हैव.
Thank you, Riyan bhai. Sanat, I think we can start. So I mean, I don't really know.
Well, I think the panel should answer one question: why they did masters?
Ji, we can start with that.
Because that will help at least to young graduates to understand what was the motivation behind higher studies. You know.
Absolutely. So you want to start, Khalid?
Actually, my motivation always was to go into teaching. That was my kind of love of life. So even though after my BTech, I had a job in HAL, but I didn't join. I went for a master's in IIT Bombay because I wanted to do master's first, and afterwards I wanted to join teaching. But then once I did master's, and people said, if you want to really go in academia, why not you do PhD? So I had a fully funded PhD scholarship in the UK, so I did for PhD. Once I did PhD, then I just joined industry rather than academia. I tried to go into academia, but my project was not funded, so I moved to in industry, and from that point, I'm still in industry. I am actually visiting a professor in University of Birmingham at the moment, supervising master projects and thesis. Yeah.
Right.
So the main motivation was, if one of my professors said, if you want to come in academia even 1%, then you should do masters.
Right. Right. But no, that's really helpful. But like Sana was saying earlier, we were discussing earlier, a lot of people are put off by the fact that unless you're not, if you're not going into academia, then masters, you don't know how helpful masters is for getting a job. If it's worth investing that kind of money and time into doing a master's, if the job that you'll be doing is the same as a bachelor's degree holder will be doing. Any thoughts on that?
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
I did not introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Shujat Ali. Dr. Shafiq Khan.
Sorry, Shreya. I'm
No
really
problem.
sorry, Shreya. I didn't know. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your name there. Okay.
No, just yeah. I did my bachelor's from Hubli, a place in Karnataka. Bachelor's in civil engineering. Then straight after bachelor's, I came to do my master's in UK. I did my master's in structural engineering from University of Salford. And just before I finished my master's, I managed to get a job here. And I've been working in civil, basically bridges industry from past 15 years. I'm chartered with the Institution of Civil Engineers and also chartered project manager. Just to bring to the attention a question that came up about why master is required. I mean, I'm chartered with Institution of Civil Engineers. If you're a civil engineer and you want to progress in your career, it's always good to specialize in something. Like, for instance, civil engineering is a large subject, but you specialize in a particular thing. Like, for instance, I took structural engineering. The motive was to get into bridges, highway and railway bridges. So you need to know a bit more than just do what you learn at bachelor stage. And also, when you're trying to become a chartered, master's is absolutely required. And once you become a chartered, it's from a reputed institution, which is Institution of Civil Engineers or Institution of Structural Engineers. You do pave your way to go up higher in the management role. So it's very important to do masters, from my point of view.
So to become a chartered engineer, does it matter where you did your master's from, or no?
You have if you do from UK, obviously it's a straight in that they understand and they recognize your degree. But if you do from, say, India, then potentially you have to then submit your documents and make sure the institution accepts it.
Right. Okay. Are there any people here who any engineers from Hyderabad who are interested in civil engineering?
I think mostly IT people here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say about masters that I think first you have to think what you want to gain from masters. I understand. I kind of agree with this notion, especially with IT, is that if you are doing a master just after your bachelor, then you are not gaining much actually, unless you want to go into research. And if you start your career just after graduation and go into IT, then it's fine. You may not need masters, but for some, especially for like research-based masters, it can actually. So I would suggest that if someone has done his graduation, did job for like 2 or 3 years, and then go for masters, because then you understand, especially some of the current research and where you want to go, in which direction you want to go. So like in my case, I did my master's after like almost 10 years after, or more than 10 years after my graduation. And my reason for going to master was because I was in kind of an academia and doing for great computing, but I wanted to move into security area. And so and this is why I went for this master's course. So that was like unless you know what you want to gain from that, because it's very expensive, especially if you are doing it from UK or US. Is quite expensive, and it may not give you that kind of leverage to get into the job market, the kind of amount and money and effort you are putting into masters. So that will be my take on that.
Right. So I think most of the people here are what they're looking for is masters in India. So does that apply to them as well? So they should they work? Do you think they should work first and then do their master?
No, I would say another thing, that in India, in Indian context, if you have done your engineering from a what you call second tier or third tier engineering college, and you can get masters from IIT, and then that will be really good actually, because that will kind of open a lot of door if you have done. So probably if you have done engineering from tier 2 or tier 3, then try to put some effort in GATE and try to get good marks and go and do a masters from a good institute, and that may be helpful.
Let's think from the other point here. If they don't do masters, what are they going to do? Do they have job in hand? If they don't have a job and they don't want to do masters, then what are the options? And which option then might open certain doors, as Kashibai has said. So if you have done your BTech from a college which is not well recognized or not considered very top rank, but you think you have learned a lot of things, why not just try and do masters from a college which people know?
Yeah.
And then you have a stepping stone in your career from there on.
Right.
I think Khalid, these are very good points. जैसे Khalid ने कहा कि why do people do masters? या काशिफ ने कहा when is the best time to do masters? So मेरे ख्याल में typically जो हम लोग अपने careers में, one of the best approaches to figure anything out is to ask yourself these 5 questions: what, why, where, how, when. So 5 W's इसको कहते हैं लोग. If you have a solid answer for all 5 of those W's, then आपके लिए decision लेना आसान हो जाएगा. So why is first मेरे ख्याल से most primary thing इसमें कि आप क्यों masters करना चाहते हैं. Does it help your career? जैसे खालिद ने और काशिफ ने कहा. मैं एक example दूंगा. मैंने यहाँ UK से masters MNG किया था. Then I opted for a career in IT. मेरा master's वो जो था, that was a research in artificial intelligence. But I opted to start my career in IT. I'll give you a very clear example. हमारी company में they were taking on graduate students BEng के साथ for a certain salary. Masters को वो £500 per year extra offer करते थे. And PhD students, if you wanted to go into IT, they were offering £1,000 more as a starting salary. So if you count that, अगर एक शख्स ने graduation के बाद join किया industry, IT industry as a software developer, आप एक साल में 2, 3, 4 हज़ार पाउंड आपकी सैलरी ऐसे ही बढ़ जाएगी. तो आपने जो मास्टर्स किया होगा या इवन PhD किया होगा और आप IT इंडस्ट्री में एज ए सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर एंटर करेंगे, तो यू डोंट गेन एनी बेनिफिट. आपने 3-4 साल इन्वेस्ट किए मास्टर्स में, PhD में, यू एंडेड अप स्टार्टिंग योर करियर एज ए सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर, देन यू हैव लॉस्ट ग्राउंड. आपने 3-4 साल इन्वेस्ट किए और आपको 1,000 पाउंड सालाना सैलरी ज्यादा मिल रही है. उसके बनस्पत आपने बैचलर्स करके ज्वाइन कर लिया होता IT इंडस्ट्री, यू वुड हैव गॉट 3,000 pounds more within that year or 3-4 years. तो ये बहुत important है कि आप क्यों करना चाहते हैं. How does it really help your career? Are you really focused on what you want to do? Because masters में specialization होता है. If you're focused on a very particular goal कि मुझे as an example, आपको artificial intelligence में interest है. You do a masters in artificial intelligence. या काशिफ ने cyber security कहा, you're interested in cyber security. Masters helps you specialize. लेकिन उसके अलावा भी और दूसरे वो होते हैं. ये खालिद ने बताया academia में it's a prerequisite. You have a master's or a PhD to continue. So you need that effectively. Yeah, finally एक खालिद ने एक और अच्छी बात कही कि if you If you don't have any other options, then maybe, you know, rather than have a gap in your career, you continue with further education. Lekin why needs to also be supplemented by the other 4 W's कि आप किस वक्त करेंगे, कहाँ से करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, is it masters by research, is it taught masters? These are all important. So you have to see all 5 questions मेरे ख्याल से together. Some of them will be more important, why comes first, but others will also need to be seen in the same light. Khalid, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. I was just enjoying listening to that, and I turned myself off. So I think that will be really helpful for, you know, for all the people listening in. I think it's really important to think on those lines, and you try and, you know, figure out why you want to do it and how it will help you. I just wanted to check with Shujat. You're probably the closest to these guys, you know, in terms of, you know, location, and you probably have a better idea of what engineering colleges in Hyderabad are like. You know, I don't know if, I mean, we're talking like a typical North Indian. Pura South India is like the same.
So, no,
but no, just geographically, I think you probably have a better idea of how things are there.
Wait.
So, what do you think about their, you know, master's options, and should they be doing masters or not?
I think एक और चीज क्या important होती है कि human psychology भी क्या होती है कि once you do your say bachelor's और bachelor's खत्म करके you found a job and आप job करना शुरू करते हैं then you start to see that you are earning money. तो काफी टाइम में ये हो जाता है कि काफी students जो bachelor's करके job ले लिए and they start earning the money, they forget about going back and doing masters. The chances are very high कि, you know, जब चल रही है, job चल रही है, you earning enough money, तो छोड़ देते हैं. But you also need to understand कि it's not about just आपके time में या short term. You have to think about long term. ठीक है, throughout your career, throughout your lifespan, किस तरह से ये होगा. For instance, like जब my dad is also civil engineer, तो वो diploma किए थे, and that time diploma was highly rated. And उसका importance ज़्यादा था. Then when I came in, bachelor's तक था. But at the same time, जो masters करते थे, they are again a step ahead. So don't know. I mean, requirements change होती रहती है over the period of time. So as you go along, there is a chance that you might do bachelor's and bachelor खत्म कर दिए, and then you get a job, you start earning, and families and all उसमें busy हो जाते हैं. So sometimes it's better to find out कि, you know, once you do your bachelor's, what you want to do. Specialize करना चाहते हैं, do a specialization. Ideally, if you want to test the market test करें, थोड़ा बहुत experience ले लें, 1 or 2 years to understand कि आप किस field में आप specialize करना चाहते हैं, and then you should personally do masters because industry के requirements change होते रहते हैं over the period of time. So that's one thing. In terms of मैं obviously हैदराबाद से नहीं उतना ज्यादा जानता नहीं, but ideally masters करना है और civil engineering में करना है तो definitely IITs is something you should always target first.
Right. So does it make a huge difference? Obviously, if you go to one of the big institutes like IIT or some other big one, then obviously it's a different game. But does it matter? Does it make a huge difference if you do it from IIT and say from somewhere else in? So I think the specific question is, I think somewhere in Telangana or somewhere in Hyderabad, if you do it from one of those places versus IIT, how much difference does it make?
It does. I think it does make. Obviously, individual पे भी depend होता है, but generally, IITs are obviously well reputed, and to even get into IITs, आपको उसके exams होते हैं, entrance exams होते हैं, and you have to clear. So you have to be good at it to start with before you get into IITs. So already वहाँ पे filter हो जाते हैं students by the time you get in, and then you are actually getting into a very competitive environment, जहाँ पे challenges ज़्यादा होते हैं. अब मैं तो IIT से नहीं किया हूँ, but I know that मेरा भी aspiration यही था कि अगर after bachelor's I'll take a break, 1 year break, do my preparation for the, I think it's called GATE exam बोलते हैं शायद. So do the preparation एंड आई थिंक 2 places हैं जहाँ पे इसकी प्रिपरेशन होती है. एक हैदराबाद में इंस्टीट्यूशन है और आई थिंक 1 in चेन्नई. तो साउथ में ये 2 इंस्टीट्यूशन से प्रिपरेशन करके मुझे आईआईटी जाना था, बिकॉज यू गेट चैलेंज देयर. यू नो यू अब नॉर्मल दूसरे भी होते हैं, जैसे कि जहाँ से मैंने बैचलर्स की है वहाँ पे मास्टर्स भी थे, बट यू कैन द फिनिश प्रोडक्ट इज स्लाइटली डिफरेंट. यू नो यू आर, जब आप आईआईटी से आते हैं, you are very experienced. Your depth of understanding and principles of, say, engineering is pretty sound.
Yeah. No, obviously, if you go to IIT, obviously we know that we understand. Okay, if you go there, but not everyone can go there. So I think that's a really useful piece of information. के क्या exam, gate exam होता है जो हैदराबाद में भी.
I think
Yes,
there's a
GATE.
Okay.
GATE.
Yeah. So I think एक तो अगर हैदराबाद में ही है, तो I think it might be useful for these people. And the other thing is, say मतलब IIT तो बहुत कम लोग जा पाएंगे, but say the majority will not go to IIT. So for those who don't go to IIT, what can they do to add value to their masters, during their masters, or after their masters?
Again, अगर depending on which subject you're going in, अगर आप समझे कि मेरा सब्जेक्ट लो सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, I would highly recommend कि जो भी मास्टर्स कर रहे हैं, along with the masters, try and get some on-site experience, so you can actually put things what you're learning into practicality.
Right. Any other thoughts?
Let me say just one thing. Let's talk to the actually students what they want to actually. What is their question? Because we are discussing it among ourselves.
Yeah, no,
asking the questions. So let's give them a chance.
Absolutely. Sana wants to say something, I think.
Yeah, regarding the IIT, I want to say I want to say that as Muhammad Shujat Ali had said, like IIT is not everything, and we have a lot of challenges in IIT. And I personally know of some students, when I was working in COVID support groups and all, I came across few things like hidden truths, like they are going into drugs, etc., due to immense pressure on them. So IIT is just a brand like any other clothing brand, and वहाँ पर I think 9 or 10 is the score, उन्हीं को मिलती है job. Then who scores 7, 6, 7, 8? These people are having less jobs opportunity and they end up as 0 and they go into depressions. सिर्फ इनके पास बड़ा टाइटल रहता है. That is what is happening in India, कि आप टाइटल के पीछे company will come प्लेसमेंट के लिए, बट दे आर नॉट गेटिंग सेलेक्टेड इनटू द कंपनीज बिकॉज यू नो, और लोग का शायद वो टाइप्स भी रहता कि आप इतने बच्चे हमारे पास से हायर करें एंड ऑल. I think we should focus on talking about these real time issues, which real time challenges which are going on the name of marketing. Just ये marketing ही है ना, IIT, NIT और जो भी होता है. I'm sorry, you know.
No, I think everywhere has its own challenges.
I'm sorry, but this is not like, this is not true. I don't know whether your background, but IIT is not just a brand name. It is, is IIT and NIIT is like, NIIT is a private institution. IIT is not a brand name, actually. IIT is it's not about the, the kind of faculty they have, the infrastructure they have, and the kind of research options you get there is very different. So I really don't agree with on that. And as far as things are concerned,
I think take your point. I think we all agree that IITs are obviously they have their reputation for a reason. I mean, they must be doing something different. And obviously, like Sana said, they might have their own challenges as well. And nowhere is without challenges. But obviously, the fact that they have a reputation means that there must be something behind that reputation as well. So anyway, Sana, what we wanted was really to hear from the other students. So I don't know, nobody's asked a question yet. So if we can encourage
I request
them
everybody over here to please unmute and ask freely whatever your queries are or doubts are. Please feel free. there is no holding you back and tracking you back like who are you and all. तो आप हिंदी में बात करना चाहें हिंदी करें, जैसे भी बात करना चाहें आप, प्लीज यू आस्क योर डाउट्स, किस चीज में जो भी आप डाउट्स के साथ में, है आपके पास इंशाल्लाह.
Okay.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Yeah.
This is Yabar. So I
Walaikum
had
assalam.
a couple of questions regarding masters. If you after bachelor's, if you want to pursue masters from abroad, like if you want to pursue from the UK or Canada, because I have done some research, and for UK, I guess the masters there is usually 1 year, but for Germany or Canada and other places, like it's for 2 years. So I wanted to ask the panel if, like, what could be the reason for that? Like, it's 2 years versus 1 year. Apart from that, what could be the job opportunities if one wants to pursue masters or PG diploma, and what would be the differences between like the opportunities one would get after pursuing masters or through the PG diploma course?
Okay, so Yaman, which specialty are you talking about? What? Any
No,
particular branch of engineering?
Yeah, I have done my bachelor's in computer science, and for masters, I'm like looking into maybe data science or cybersecurity.
Okay, so we have just the experts for you here. Right. So, who wants to take this question? आप लोगों ने, Kashif bhai?
So I know Yavar because I've given him this connection. Probably it would be better if someone else give his opinion. Especially, I think Khalid bhai, if you have, the situation, because I don't have experience of like masters from Germany and rest of the European countries. So if someone has,
I think UK वाला पहले बताया. I think he wanted to know about UK and Canada. So UK का किसने करा तो वो बता दें, and then Germany का शकीब भाई से पूछ लेंगे.
So UK generally have 1 year master's course, and so one of the thing nowadays, because earlier, like before 2012, there was no post-study visa. So one of the good thing now is that there's a post-study visa available for if you are doing masters from UK, and especially in the field of cybersecurity, I will say there's quite a lot of demand. And so, like at the moment, I'm recruiting for someone, and we are finding it very hard to find people actually. So it's but that requires like 3 to 4 years of experience. So at the moment, we advertise a job, and it's like we got 2 applicants. So this is why we are looking for people from outside as well now. So I would say it's a good opportunity, especially if you are in cybersecurity and want to do masters from here, and then say do, because there's a 2-year post-study visa, so companies can give you a job without any problem, and if they find you useful, then probably they will provide the visa as well.
Right.
So,
and how easy is it to get into a master's program here?
Again, it's depend from the institute to institute. If they are like, this is a kind of industry for lots of universities, they want foreign students to sustain. So one of my friends is actually dean at one of the universities here, and he said that if someone can write their name correctly twice, then I will give them admission. So it depends from the college to college, but of course it's very competitive in Oxford, Cambridge, or if you want to go, say, there's one other university. So like if for the top universities or Russell Group universities, it's competitive, but for universities, other universities, that may not be that competitive.
Okay, Khalid bhai, yeah.
Khalid, I'll just add very quickly to what Kashif mentioned. Yes, there is probably a tiering universities में यहाँ पे इंडिया में जैसे है कि IITs and further universities are ranked below. So one of the things मैं भूल रहा हूँ किसने सवाल पूछा था. One of the things you should look at is कि आपका जो particular chosen course है data science में, cyber security में अगर आप specialize करना चाहते हैं तो UK has university rankings, which are useful in trying to focus your mind कि आपको कहाँ से करना है. So the Times newspaper, Times comes out with an annual ranking of universities, और वो वैसे तो global होता है, लेकिन UK में it is much more thorough क्योंकि यहाँ का data is very closely monitored कि कितने students थे, what's the ratio of students to teachers, कितने students को within 6 months of completing their degree they were offered a job, those kind of things. So that might be a useful tool to help decide कि आपके लिए कौन सी university बेहतर होगी. But that is one thing. Other things which would be important for you might be कि UK में there are pockets of Asian influence. तो मैं लंदन में आया था 98 में, तो मुझे तो ईस्ट लंदन में रहा, तो आई नेवर रियलाइज कि आई वाज आउटसाइड ऑफ इंडिया क्योंकि इतना बड़ा यहाँ एशियन सर्कल था. तो इट फेल्ट इजियर फॉर मी यहाँ एसिमिलेट करने में एंड टू गो अबाउट एंड फाइंडिंग थिंग्स. लेकिन फॉर इंस्टेंस आप इफ यू गो टू ए टाउन, लेट्स से, आजकल तो मुश्किल होता है नेम करना, यहाँ एशियन वो नहीं हो populations, but there might be areas, universities which are very well regarded, but you might find difficult to integrate because आपको Asian students शायद ना मिले वहाँ पे ज़्यादा. तो maybe focus on those practical things also. Plus universities में fees, although private students के लिए you can expect to pay £10,000 easily per year for any graduate or master's course, उससे ज़्यादा ही होगा. But still there are differences. अगर आप लंदन से कर रहे हैं तो they'll probably be more expensive, and more prestigious Russell Group universities, they'll be more expensive compared to ones that are not so important. Post-study work visa 2 साल का होता है. As Kashif pointed out, it can be extended अगर आपको job मिल जाए. But don't always bank on it, क्योंकि मेरे भाई ने भी यहाँ से masters किया था. He ended up working for 3-4 months in Sainsbury's doing odd jobs after his masters. लेकिन उसके बाद then he got a job and he's settled in his career. So expectations जो हैं just temper it, कि मतलब ये नहीं है कि UK से आप कर रहे हैं, जर्मनी से कर रहे हैं, US से कर रहे हैं, तो that is a guarantee of a job here. It is quite challenging. Masters itself is very intensive, और उसके बाद job मिलना is a next step from there. So just take that in stages. मतलब
yeah, no, thanks, Ranbhai. So yeah, there are lots of things. I think one of the big factors for anyone coming from India is obviously the cost. So can you just very shortly, does anyone have any idea of the rough costs that are involved masters करने के लिए?
So for masters, for normal Russell Group universities for international students is around 18K. Right.
£18,000.
£18,000 for 1 year.
Okay.
It's just the fees. If you want to go for Oxford, is around 28,000. So it's a big amount.
So £18,000 is like 18 lakh rupees.
18 lakh rupees for Russell Group universities,
yeah.
and 28,000 for Oxford. But in Oxford, sometimes if you manage to convince your supervisor, then probably you can get some bursary scholarship, things like that.
And plus, you need living expenses on top of this, so that's another about £10,000-12,000 easily.
Yes, 10-12. You can get like odd jobs here, but yeah, it's still that should be taken into account.
Yeah, for Cambridge also it's around 28,000, I think.
Yeah. So Oxford, Cambridge is like 28.
28.
Right. Okay. And
just one thing. Just a question back to Yawa. Yawa, why do you want to do masters abroad? Why not India?
Assalamu alaikum. The same question from my side.
Okay, Ibrahim. Walaikum assalam. So I think Shujat wants to know from both of you now, basically. So why do you want to do a master's from here and not in India? Any reasons that you have in mind already?
Actually, yes. Actually, I'll be looking to settle abroad in the future. So I thought it would be better to have a degree from the place that we are going to settle eventually. That's why.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think from what I've, because I'm not an engineer, but from the discussions I've had in the past and today, I think it does make a difference if you do your master's here. Then you get a 2-year student's visa on which you can work, and so it's easier for people to recruit you rather than coming from outside. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think in some
Yes.
fields, yes. Not, I'm not sure for, but I think in computing field, if
Okay.
someone has done masters from here and like 2-year job experience, then probably it would be easier to.
Right. Okay.
Actually, for job hunting is a full-time job itself. So while you are doing masters, if you're not working anywhere, then it becomes very difficult to get job after graduation. So one must be working part-time, whatever hours, or volunteering somewhere, some kind of real industry, so that you get some experience and you can show on your CV that you are experienced, you can do the job. If you are working full-time in McDonald's, for example, while doing masters, then it's become difficult to get a job in an engineering company afterwards. So,
So something to keep in mind for anyone
yeah.
who's coming
So
from
even
masters
though
here.
even though you're getting an odd job, but get an odd job in a right company.
Something relevant, some relevant experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we've established कि यहाँ पे masters करने से definitely फायदा है, but the drawback is obviously it's very expensive. So you're looking at easily about, the cheapest you're looking at is about £30,000 for the masters program. So शुरू में I think Shakib bhai ने बताया कि he done his masters from Germany. He did his MBA, but he knows about masters programs there, and that was almost unbelievably low cost, at 1,500 euros for the whole year. So Shakib bhai, you want to just explain?
I would say that for engineers, if they are opting for Germany, Germany is what my experience. Germany is like a coconut. It's very hard from outside, but the cream and tasty water is inside. So what is this outer scale? It's the language. Germans, they don't speak English, although they know English. They are into European Union where you have 26 languages, but they don't speak German. And they don't speak English. They don't like to speak English, rather, be in this way. So any students opting for Germany should keep in mind. I'll tell my condition, my experience. I couldn't find a job after my MBA. Although I worked for Siemens for 10 years. I knew the top business development director in Siemens. He couldn't put me anywhere because language was mandatory. When I stayed there, I never volunteered myself to come out and learn language. So what my suggestion is that when you are in India, nowadays after the advent of COVID, the one thing we learned is online. So if you're opting for Germany, first of all, take a year break or year and a half break, complete your German language. It's like how they rate it, like A1, A2. It's A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. You should be at least B1 completed, certified, and B2 in a position of B2. B2 is like you can be on the road, you can ask people about the directions, you can talk a little bit about your course, about your studies in German. And when you are in Germany, you can obviously practice a lot at that. So when you come to Germany, you should be B1 certified. That's the first thing. If you are not willing to devote time and just come to Germany like I did, I had to leave the country. Although I had a very sound experience of 10 plus years into industrial programming. I don't know if you guys know about the DCS and PLC controls. I was expert on Siemens side, and then my intention was to move into the management role. That's why I did MBA. But after MBA, I couldn't find it.
Shakib bhai, sorry to interrupt. I think we might be running out of time as well. So just very briefly, if you could just give an idea of what costs might be involved, and if there's a specific route that they should be looking at, and then maybe we can get them to contact us.
First thing is the requirement of language. You should pre-qualify before opting for anything. Second thing, there is a website called DAAD.de, all the universities are listed there. Based on your course, you just make a search, you get into the college. In Germany, it is divided like the topmost university, like IIT, is TU, Technical University. So every big cities will be having a TU, like TU München, TU Berlin, TU Hamburg, TU Stuttgart. I mean, there are 5 or 6 TUs. So that's the top ones. So if you want to qualify there, obviously they will. In Germany, they will look for your credential, your educational credential, but also they look for your experience. If you have a year or 2 experience, that also have weightage on when you try to apply to the universities. Then comes the normal universities, University of Bremen, University of Hamburg, all universities, and then come University of Applied Sciences, Hochschule. So these are the 3 tier of university. Hochschules are the lowest one. Even there is one Fachhochschule, that's tier 4. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. All the things are available on dat.de. Right from the expense point of view, all the stems are free. So you only pay the admin charges, which is like 1,500 euros per semester. No, 500 euros per semester. So in Germany, it is like year and a half. So 3 semesters, it will come up like 1,500 euro.
Okay. Right.
So it is like, and then when you apply for the visa, government asks to put you the minimum expenses for 12 months, not for the whole course, but first 12 months. You need to put, so around 10,000 euros plus 12,500 euros will be the total cost of including your living expenses of year 1. And then when you complete, it's like it's 2 years course. It's 18 months you have to go to the college, and then you get 6 months for your internship. Generally, you apply to the colleges. Sometimes the colleges has a tie-up with different companies. So straight away, they put you into internship. Otherwise, you have to apply with the proper German CV and those things. And then you qualify for internship another 6 months. After you complete your course, finish your degree, you get 18 months of job search visa. They call it job Suchen. So that's job search visa. In that 18 months, you need to land up with the offer, and your offer should be more than 42,500 euro to qualify for a 5-year visa.
Right. Thank you, Shakib.
That's all in Germany.
Right. And when you apply for jobs, can you apply for jobs anywhere in the EU or just Germany?
No, only in Germany, because your job search visa qualifies you. If you're on job search visa or a student, that can be converted directly to a job work visa. So straight away, it's only for Germany, but you can apply for other countries. In that case, there is a thing called EU Blue Card.
Okay. Yeah.
This terminology, kids can search EU Blue Cards. For EU, to get qualified for EU Blue Card, you need to have a job offer of more than 42,500 for STEM branches.
Yeah. No,
If
really
it is not, then you
helpful.
need 47,000 something for management. If you are a product manager, or you are or general manager, or sales manager, or any other profession, you need 47,500.
Right. Yeah. No, that's really helpful. I think we have a question from Aisha Moiz. Aisha, you want? Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question about masters. How far are the chances to get high-paying jobs after masters in computer science?
In India, Aisha?
In India as well as abroad.
Okay.
Mostly in India.
It's very subjective question, high-paying job, normally after education, people don't get high-paying job. People get a job. And then high-paying gets converted once you, you show your skills. And, if you are good enough, you can jump around and you can get a good job.
So I think, Aisha, I think what you're looking for is, eventually which jobs might pay more. But like Khalid Bhai said, I think when you start, I think it's important to get your foundations right, and obviously you can build on them. And I don't know if you had any specific. Do you have any specific kind of masters in mind? Any specific branch?
No, not any specific branch, but the same computer science stream.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I think what your question is should be is, what computer science options, what sort of masters or what sort of specialization you should do in your computer science job that gives you better job opportunities.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Should
anyone,
we directly move towards a job, or should we pursue our masters? Should we accomplish master's degree after bachelor, BTech?
yes, I think Rehan bhai is left now. I think उन्होंने थोड़ा सा, I think he touched upon this, that again it depends on what you're planning to do. If there's a very niche area, if there's a very specific area that you need more training in or more education in, I think you have to do masters. Otherwise, it might be worth, especially in IT, you might end up after the masters starting at the same level as a person without a masters.
Actually, let me state here one thing. Money is not proportional to your education and your knowledge. One need to remember this. The money you get is not correlated to your knowledge. Yeah, you can get a job, and you might be satisfied with your job. You might be happy with what you're doing. But I think this is a very misconception, people have, that if you get good knowledge and good PhD and this and that, you get good salary. No, your salary is proportional to the needs of the other person. That's it. So whatever you are good at it, find the people who need them, those kind of skills, and propose yourself that I can solve your problems, and they will pay you a huge amount of money. So simple. If somebody needs a cyber security person and you are that person, then you will get paid good amount of money. Otherwise, he or she is not interested to read your CV even. If you might be very good engineer in your field, it doesn't matter.
So Khalid bhai, does it then is it worth looking at what demands are likely to be in what jobs are likely to be in demand, say 2 years from now, 3 years from now?
So the emerging technologies, yeah.
So like for emerging technology, the thing is, first of all, masters or any degree actually give you, just give you for like, they can shortlist on the basis of that master's degree. So that kind of give you first, entry point. But after that, it depends on your experience and your knowledge. So that is very important. It doesn't matter if someone has a degree from Oxford, they will just get the job. Because this I have seen that, people think that, okay, if I have a degree from this particular university or this course, I will get the job. So it gives you interview, but next step is your knowledge. Other thing is, as for emerging technologies, I would say, yeah, you can think about like the moment there's a lot of talk about AI and machine learning and data science. But what is important that if you have expertise in one particular thing, like, if someone is like exceptional C programmer, right? And that's enough to get a job. But you have to be like a expert in one particular thing, and that will give you a job. So that is, I think I will say.
Right. Does that answer your question, Aisha?
Just one thing to add on the same line. Don't limit yourself. If your personal circumstances allows you to do masters, and furthermore, please go ahead and do it. It's better to just continue your education. Sometimes taking a break might have an impact on you returning back to academia. Sometime it's all personal circumstances dependent.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, because I mean, if you do a master's, I mean, having more education never really harmed anyone. So it might set you back a year or two, but I think eventually, given that you'll be working for the next 40 years, inshallah, I think getting a good start is obviously better. So,
I think I look at some research mentioned that it was based on US, that every dollar spent on education actually gives you 10 times within your lifetime, and that's kind of thing.
So that's a big money for you, Aisha. 10 times. Right, Ibrahim, I think I wanted to ask some.
Yeah, actually, I have multiple questions related to the masters, also related to the job.
Okay.
So after completion of my mechanical engineering from JNTH, Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Hyderabad. I came to a point, and at that time I realized which thing is more important to me, either skill, real-time work experience, or the knowledge which I can get through MTech or further masters. So what are your views regarding this? Like when I approached my different professors, all of them said that you would go to a college, you would attend some of the practicals, but you would never get a real time experience. However, at the end of the day, when you join an industry, you would have to work with them like an experienced and skilled worker.
Okay. I think Munir and Khalid bhai are the closest things we have to mechanical engineers here, I think. So what, Munir, what is I think you worked after your graduation. So what do you think?
I would say going for higher studies will be better. After graduation, do you have immediate job openings for mechanical engineers?
The same
Right.
question I raised to my professors. So they said that don't go for the job, go for the internships.
Because yes, because I would like to say mechanical engineering, we don't have many jobs in industry for mechanical engineers, unfortunately, at the moment. So 90% of mechanical engineer, I would say 95%, end up serving in software or IT industry. So if you want to stay in mechanical engineering, go for some core jobs, I would say, then it is mandatory that you go for masters, and then you can have employers like GE who are manufacturing turbines, or those kind of employers will be available to you if you complete your masters. They don't entertain people at graduation level, I would say.
And to become a good
Yeah.
engineer, you need to be chartered. And for that, master's is the minimum qualification.
So Ibrahim?
Khalid bhai,
Yeah.
I think that is not mandatory for chartered. It is
Okay.
it is required, but it is not 100% required, I would say.
Let me say in other words, what is 100% required is you must have knowledge equivalent to masters. Whether you
Yes.
did in the university or you worked
Or
somewhere,
you
you
did
learned it. So you must show that you have knowledge equivalent to masters. And if you can show somehow, that's well and good. And the easiest way to show it, you did your masters and you can show I passed masters and that's it.
Yes.
Otherwise, you have to kind of write reports, and some of your supervisor need to vouch for you, saying this guy is very good. He has designed a lot of things here, and then those kind of things can be put forward.
Yeah, I think we already established that, like Ibrahim said, there aren't many job opportunities anyway. So I think the easiest thing to do is to go for a master's. Anyway, so Ibrahim, you said you had some other questions as well?
Yeah, another question. Apart from masters, like on the scale of masters only, apart from dollars, real, or whatever it may be, apart from money, what will be the parameters or what will be my benefits which can attract me towards pursuing my masters abroad rather than India? Like when I have noticed around my environment, I have noticed that many of my friends just go abroad for the visa. They just say we have to go there, we have to pursue 2 years of masters, 1 year internship, then we have to get a job, then after so and so years we'll get a PR, then we'll get a family visa. That's it.
Yeah.
So when we focus on our academics, this is not acceptable.
Right. So हम लोगों को तो बहुत पुरानी बात हो गई, Ibrahim, but I think Munir and Shujat have just come to the country. So we'll ask them why they came to the UK. So Munir, why did you move to the UK after 9 years of serving Delhi Metro?
I would say mid-career frustration. In the government job, everything is happening at particular pace, and the longer you stay, the more useless you become in a government job.
Okay. No, so what attracted you? That's the reason you left that job. But what attracted you to the UK? Why UK? Why not another job in India?
There are push and pull factors both. So the socio-economic conditions in India, political charged atmosphere at the moment. So that was one of the reason. And it started. I started feeling it within the organization after 2014. So
Okay.
it started building up. So that was the push factor. And another factor was uh, my wife. She used to come to UK frequently because she was in IT industry. So I got married in 2013, and between 13 to 16 17 she came 4 or 5 times to UK. So it was like every time she used to say, come with me this time, I will bear your cost, and then every time I said no, I will go on my visa, you will be my dependent. So
Right.
I had friends in industry here. One of my flatmate, he was working in ecom previously. So uh, when I got opportunity, I found it that it is best to
Fine. So
move.
I think your reason is basically you were inevitably going to end up in the UK anyway. You were just
Yes.
it's a matter of time before you obeyed your wife and came here. Yeah. Shujat, any reasons why you came? Why did the UK attract you? Why come out of India?
Oh, well, I did not work in India. So straight after
Okay,
my
fine.
bachelor's,
Okay.
I came here to do my master's back in 2006. So I'm in UK from past 15 years now.
Okay, fine. So
What you need to understand, Ibrahim, is you need to also not just think about masters. Abroad gives you other perspective of life outside India. So you need to understand, like, how the life is in UK or anywhere else, and you can see India bit better when you're outside India. So you can meet with people, you can see different perspective, different ideas, different form of life, uh, and that actually improves your multiple skill and life skills as well. So don't just limit to academia. There's many more things to learn when you actually come out of India. And if you stay in India, then you only learn what's there in India. You don't get the right exposure of being anywhere else. So that's the thing. And for me, my reason was obviously I never planned to come to UK. My intention was to do my masters from IITs and then move to Middle East. But a couple of my mates were planning to go to UK and America, and because I was actually the topper of my university, they kind of recommended me to try and try UK basically. Although it was out of our range, we don't come from a very rich family as such back home, so it was difficult, and I can tell you it was a very difficult journey coming to UK. But Alhamdulillah, it's paid off, and I've learned a lot since I've come to UK. As I said, not just technical or education. From life point of view, you have a better understanding of your life.
thanks for that, Shujat. Just so you might actually be helpful for other people as well. So you say you didn't come from a very rich background. None of us did, to be honest. I mean, there's hardly any of us who had money before we came to the UK. So how did you manage? Just very shortly, how did you manage to? Did you get any scholarships? Did you work here while you were studying? Or?
Yeah, I mean, what I did is when I applied for University of Salford, I did get some grant. I think back then it was about £10,000 a year to do the masters, and I think they knocked off 3,000 from that fee, and it was about 7,000 I had to pay. Then I came here. Obviously, the intention was to focus on the studies, but while studying, I was doing some small jobs, like working for a day or two, working for like Sainsbury's or Pizza Express, like places. That give again, the main intention was not to just earn money, was to learn, to be able to communicate, to be able to understand the working environment, working culture. And that was the intention. And Alhamdulillah,
3 months I was into my master's, and I managed to find a job in my own field.
Right, mashallah. Mashallah. So yeah, so anyone thinking of coming here, there are options. Obviously, cost is a big factor, but there are ways to get around cost, inshallah. So Ibrahim, you still have your hand up. Any other questions?
Yes.
I would like to add
So
one thing.
as like you guys said that there are very less opportunities in mechanical background in India, whereas in Hyderabad, not India, whereas in Hyderabad. So would it be a better option to change the field with respect to with respective to better openings in Hyderabad? Like I've seen many guys who have changed from mechanical field to doing MBA. They go into the administration, had 80,000 per month of package. I've seen many guys who learned the Python, Java, and they have entered into the IT companies. They are also having a good package. So what would be better for the time being apart from masters?
As Rehan Bhai mentioned earlier, you should ask those 5 questions. Okay, that
Yeah.
will why you want to do something. Okay,
So
and
yeah, that's a good point, Manir. So basically, you need to be able to decide for yourself what you want to do with your career, what sort of career you want, what sort of jobs you're looking for, where you see yourself, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Will you be happy doing something else apart from your engineering background? So I think these are the questions that you need to ask yourself and come up with the answers. About changing fields, I don't know. I mean, it's not my.
Yeah, I would say at this stage, if you start learning Python, actually you have wasted your last 5-6 years already. So I will not. It's again up to you whether at what do you feel comfortable about it. Do you think that you can you already have knowledge and you can switch over to role? So that is one thing. And I won't say that there's not much jobs like mechanical field. Like mechanical actually have a very set jobs, like you can go to auto industry and oil industry and other like these kind of industries. So yeah, I think you have to ask yourself whether you feel comfortable that you can switch to a computer science, but by doing that you'll waste what you have learned for the last 5-6 years.
Till 4 years of my engineering, I was with a mindset that no, not 4 years, till 2.5 or 3.5 years, like 3 to third year, second semester, I was the mindset that I need to go abroad to pursue my master's, MS, like everyone thinks. But at the beginning of my final year, 4th year, first semester, I have worked in many industries. Like my professors that gave us the opportunity to work in manufacturing industries who manufactures the parts of electrical components and they export those parts to Germany. So they said that they have a turnover of around at least 2 crore rupees, minimum 2 crore rupees. So that name is Acme Industries. It has like 2 units. So when I pursued my internship with those in those two semesters, I came to know that the job is not only the goal. The guy who started or set up that plant was a MTech, and he was aged person. So eventually had completed his PhD also. So what are your views upon the startup? There are many ideas for a mechanical engineer to get a startup because everything requires a production die and also the mechanical skills to manufacture a product to its design. Everything is a part of production, like cell phone or chips in
Yeah.
electronic.
No,
We need
thanks,
to
Abhi.
give
I
a
think
die
we got
or
the
a
gist
CAD.
of your question. So I think Khalid Bhai wanted to say something about switching fields, and then maybe Shakib bhai might be able to give us a short answer on startups because of management background.
I think from the UK market or for example, in Europe and Western world, if you have a degree in mechanical or any degree, and if then you learn certain skills and you can sell those skills. So being mechanical engineer doesn't mean you're a mechanical in itself. You learn problem solving and various other things, and you can get job in various fields. Mechanical engineer can be a logistics manager, for example. Mechanical engineer can be anything. So don't think that you don't have skills. You being mechanical engineer, you have learned a lot of mathematics, you have learned a lot of physics and laws of the physics and things like that, and you have a very good common sense. Being an engineer means you can do anything. So don't expect that I need to be a mechanical engineer somewhere. You can be anything. You can be a manager somewhere. Don't limit yourself. I mean, just think about it. What kind of skills you have, and if you like certain area, for example, if you want to work on airports, let's say, so you are good enough to work on there. You have all these skills. What you need is just to go and maybe volunteer somewhere, learn few things, and then you start advertising yourself at the airport something and say, okay, I'm looking for jobs here. I have these skills. No. So it's up to you how you sell yourself. Don't sell your degree. Sell yourself.
Yeah. So I think that's a
I'm talking about selling my skills. Like I don't want to be a manager of a logistic. I want to be a team leader or a person who is very essential for the part of production of manufacturing. Like 4 years I've been studied mechanical engineering, various fields like metallurgy, production, design, design, CAD CAM, physics, chemistry. So I want to utilize all those things. If I go towards an airport job or if I go towards a logistic manager, then all the skills will be wasted.
No, okay, so means nobody is saying you should leave your position. Nobody is saying if somebody is not getting job in the core field, they can move around. But if you want to stay in core job, that's very good. That's not a problem. But then you need to have an employer who is ready to employ you. That's it. If there is no employer, then what are you going to do? If you get an employment in your core skills, that's well and good, no problem. And those people are valued. But in the long run, might be your salary expectation may not be matching after certain amount of time because your skills, let me say it in another way, 5 years of skill set. Afterwards, it's just 5 years repeated. So then a new person can do the same job which you are doing, and that person will be cheaper as well. Then people get frustrated. Those kind of rules. So you need to keep updating yourself to move up. If you want to be, let's say, if you're very good in CAD CAM, but then your salary will stay there. If you want to move up, then you need to, if people are paid for thinking, not doing. Yeah. So you need to go into the thinking role rather than doing role.
Yeah,
totally agreeable. One last question. I would end up with this last question. I have interacted with the two guys. One is the professor, and other one is the senior manager at TCS. So the TCS is another software company. Just focus on the manager. So what these two guys are said that what these two guys said to me, don't run after masters or MTech. What they'll do is they'll teach you theoretical subjects, somewhat practical. That's it. Run after the core real-time projects and real-time experience. If you don't get a job, run after the unpaid internships. Skill up yourself such that the gap which comes between your graduation and the end of the and when you go and find the job, when you are skilled up, this should be covered with your knowledge and your skills. Like that they are saying. So what step should I take? Should I go for the masters or should I go towards the scaling up myself?
Is it possible to is it possible to do both? Like, is it possible to skill yourself up in your masters?
Yeah,
I don't think so because in Hyderabad we don't get studies as like part time or this internship as part time. if they opt us for a like if you go to a reputed or a really very good manufacturing unit, so what these guys will say that they'll hire us as freshers without salary. That's what internship meant in Hyderabad. So there won't be any things like that.
I think I will chip in on this question specifically. Ibrahim, I would suggest you go for internship and learn things. And then you will realize yourself whether you need a master's or not. That's so simple.
I would like to advise one thing. Ibrahim, there are few courses which are catering particular industries, like this Bhabha Atomic Research Center. They are hiring some engineers based on their GATE score, and then they offer a 2 years course from their own institution, that is Homi Bhabha Institute for uh, I'm not familiar with the full name, but they offer you full 2 years course along with some on-job training. So that will be the best suited thing for you, I would say. But for that, you have to work hard to score good score in GATE. So that will provide you industry exposure along with your master's study.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree. Got it.
Right. Thanks for that input. Aisha Moiz, I think, wanted to ask something else. Are you still here, Aisha?
Yeah. Which country is good for masters in computer science specializations, and what are the universities which on top for masters in computer science specialization?
I think we've already covered this, Aisha. So obviously, so the UK, US, Germany, Canada, obviously these are amongst the highest rated for any higher education. I think they have the best universities around. So to get a list of which ones you want to go to, it's best to go through rankings if you want to do that. So there are different levels of universities here in the UK. Say there are, so you like somebody mentioned earlier, there's a Times group ratings for universities here, or look at individual universities. So obviously the top ones are, they call the Russell Group universities. There are other rankings as well. Looking that, there's a website URL in the chat box for Germany. So I think they'll provide you, that website will give you the rankings and the names of universities in Germany. And then I think you need to go through, once you have an idea of which university you're looking at, then you shortlist a few universities and then look at their specific courses. So go onto their websites and look on their specific computer science courses, and each course will give you, an idea of what the course is like, what they teach, what skills they'll give you, and what your job prospects are afterwards. They sort of give you a rough idea of that information.
हमारी तो चाय आ गई.
ये किसने, अच्छा, okay, so Munir has written, so if anyone wants to go to the chat box, just so I think Munir's put information about the gate there. So is that okay, Aisha? Does that help, or is there anything specific you want to know?
No, I was asking about the computer science stream, universities abroad, in
Okay.
other countries.
So I think you need to look at individual universities, Aisha, and rankings.
I think you need to search in Google.
Yeah, so if you look at university rankings in individual countries or around the world, and maybe make a short list of the top universities that you're interested in. And once you have a list of universities, then go to the specific university webpage and look up the individual courses they have. And they will give you information about, what, because computer science it's possible that computer science itself will have 10 different kinds of courses in every university, depending on what skills are required or what they teach. So, anything else? Any other questions? No. Fine. No, thank you all for attending. Then I hope this was useful for you guys. I mean, I learned a lot of things even without being an engineer. So I think it must have made more sense to the engineers who attended anyway. So hopefully this helps with your. There's another website that I think this might help you, Aisha. This Kashif Bhai just put some another website address in the chat box. You might want to copy that before you leave here.
Yeah. So this is one place where you can get like all information about a lot of master's course, and also is worth like just looking at jobs.ac.uk. It's all academic jobs available in UK. So sometime, I will suggest one thing is, but not for the freshers, but like maybe if someone is 2 or 3 experienced, especially in field like computer science, sometimes you feel that the job description shows a lot of things, and you think that, okay, I don't fit here. But the problem is that for especially academic jobs, you have to put a lot of job description to get a particular grade. Actually, because university, the way university system work, that the salary structure is based on the responsibility, so you have to put a lot of information in job description, and generally it's very hard to find people with all these skills. So I would suggest apply for those jobs. It may be possible that if there's not much application from you may be shortlisted. So, but it's generally true for like people with a little bit of experience, like 3 to 4 years of experience. Just keep in mind this thing. The way university system work, that the salary structure is based on the responsibility, so you have to put a lot of information in job description, and generally it's very hard to find people with all these skills. So I would suggest apply for those jobs. It may be possible that if there's not much application.
Sorry, that was me. I think I just turned on the YouTube recording. So
Right.
For everyone here, just a reminder: this session has been recorded and it's available on a YouTube channel as well. So if you want to come back to it and refer to it, or go through it again, that's where to find it. So any other questions, guys? Or I mean, we can. This is the. I mean. This is the first time we've done sort of a counseling session for people interested in postgraduate courses here. But if there's anything else you're interested in, we can always come back and try and help with those things as well. And we might see some of you here if any of you are actually interested in moving to the UK or to pursue any any other master's programs in Europe or somewhere else. Just feel free to get in touch with us again, and we'll try and help the best we can, inshallah.
I was add one more thing, that if you want, you can just connect with me on LinkedIn, and if you have any question, I can answer that through that channel as well.
Right. So, Kashmir, do you want to post your link here? Your
link. Okay, let me.
Yeah, LinkedIn. And if any of the others want to, post any other contact details here, you can just put them in the chat box. Okay, any other questions from anyone else? If not, then I think we planned this for an hour. We're already an hour and a half into this. Any other closing comments, Khalid Bhai, Munir, Shujat?
Well, I think at the end of the day, this is a personal choice because every person's circumstances are different, and hence doing masters, doing job, and various other things is quite different. So some work has to be done by the candidate, as we have discussed here. They need to answer why they want to do, and all those questions we as the seniors can chip in to advise. We can only mentor and give directions. We cannot decide on anybody's behalf. And every personal circumstance might change the answer. So every situation is different.
Thank you, Harith bhai. Yeah, so everyone here, just ask yourself those 5 questions. Why you want to do it, when, where, how, and you can answer those questions given your personal circumstances, and hopefully you'll get the answer to that. Before we end, just one thing I forgot to ask. So Ibrahim mentioned something about a startup. So Shakib bhai has started his own business. So Shakib bhai, any advice to Ibrahim on that?
All my life I did automation. I breathed instrumentation control, right? But I ended up in a food business, that too on cancer patient foods. Startups need not need to be into your field, or you did not need to be expert. There is a English saying where we say like, master of none, jack of everything. You need to know each and everything. You need to know accounting, you need to know logistics. For startup, always you need field experience before starting anything new or anything. You need to know how the market works, how the things works. For that, you have to be at least 5 years into job or a similar role. And then it's when you come up for your startup. Like for example, the guy, he told me he has done his PhD. So obviously he did his PhD in a specialized field, and from there he took on. So obviously your background is very important, to know the accounts, to know the marketing, everything you need to do by yourself.
Yeah, that is what my question is. Do I need to scale up myself, or do I need to go after PG for gaining more knowledge? Because startup, I have many friends who are special, who have done the courses of embedded systems. Like they know very good knowledge about the computer coding, and they have a very good hands-on experience in like electronic chips. So what these guys do is, these guys create ideas. We have to, what we have to do is we have to give a major project in the final semester of engineering. So what these guys do is they create the projects and they sell it to the students. So by initially he I don't think he was an expert in that field, but what he did is with a first step to his journey, now he's at a position that he creates his own projects. Like recently he got an award from MJSET University, or at a educational fair at MJSET College, and also many educational fairs in which he have like excelled in best paper awards also.
So,
Like do you know about the smart switches?
Ibrahim,
Yeah.
you tell me, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I want to create my own startup. Like I thought very much about the ideas. Like अब मैं स्टार्टअप करूँ तो क्या करूँ? अब मैं जर्मनी में कोई लिंक है नहीं कि मैं डायरेक्टली प्रोडक्ट्स बनाऊं, जर्मनी सेंड करूँ.
No,
तो मैं
that's a very good thinking. If you want to start up something, this forum may not be the right forum, because we are maybe Shakib bhai has started up something, but all other people are employed mainly. So maybe your idea is very good. You want to start up something, and that fire and the burning desire in yourself is very good. If you want to start up, and that will give you very good fruits if you become successful. So maybe there might be some other forum where you can discuss how to start up something. I think we may not be.
My question is not upon how to start a startup. My question is, how do I become so much of skillful that I can achieve that kind of thing in my life?
So obviously, I'll just like to jump. If you are looking on that side, you need a field experience. And obviously that is going to come through working with some organization, getting yourself skilled up. So that skill obviously, and that depends on you, who is going to hire you at this stage. You got my point. So if you are interested into startups, so obviously you need to know the whole process, how the typical industry works, and that you will not get in the books. You have to be into the field to see, right way from security guard at the gate till the CEO office. You need to know the process, how things comes up, how the logistics are taken care, how the accounts is taken care, how you are going to do your backward integration, going back and seeing from where your equipments are getting supplied. So it's a very big field. I mean, that's why you will see that in startup generally you will have a specialist at every location. A guy will be expert in marketing, a guy will be expert in designing, and then conglomerate and comes up as a successful startup. By the way, you will be having better data than I will be having the successful startup. Everyone cannot become Ritesh Agrawal like Oyo. Yeah, sitting from a room. So successful startup needs a very strong field experience.
Okay, so what is the first step should I take? Like, should I also keep on generating ideas like my friend used to do?
I think, Ibrahim, the first step you need to do is to ask yourself those 5 questions. Once you have an idea of, which direction you need to go in, then you need to work backwards about, how you want to get there. So you picture yourself, say 5 years from now, you want to do this. So what skills do you need? What experience do you need? What education you need to be in that position? So once you work backwards and you find out that you need this level of education, this level of experience, and and this kind of knowledge, then you work towards getting those bits in. So you work towards getting that experience. Now, like Khalid Bhai said, it might not be possible for you to get that experience immediately because there might be no employers who want a fresh mechanical engineer. In that case, you do a master's, you get yourself a good, a job in a related field, or an employer, and then you gain that experience, you gain that knowledge, and then you work towards your your startup ideas. You can keep building up on your ideas while you're doing this. So you don't have to be the year that you're spending in your masters doesn't have to be an isolated thing. You can still, while doing your masters, you can gain experience of, you can volunteer somewhere, you can maybe do an internship when you're not studying or in your holidays, and try and build that up. Or if you get an employer now where you can get good experience, if you get a good break now, then just go for it, maybe. It'll be interesting to know how you do in future, Ibrahim. So please come back and feedback to us whatever you decide. It'll be interesting to see what you end up doing, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone?
Any views from Kashif sir or Shujat bhai?
Sorry?
Any suggestions or tips from Shujat bhai or Kashif sir?
Yeah, Ibrahim, everyone has given you very good advice.
Yeah.
One thing about the startup. One thing about the startup is obviously you need to identify the gap in the market, and to identify the gap in the market, you need to be in the market. So that's one thing you need to know.
Okay, got it, Shujat bhai.
Okay, I think final remarks, Kashif bhai, and then we'll stop.
No, I think I'm not the qualified person to give my opinion on a startup, because I had a very set job all the time. I didn't try in that direction at all. So yeah.
Once you have a big startup, inshallah, Ibrahim, once you're well settled and you've got a big company, you can get Kashif bhai for cybersecurity.
Make duas for my achievement. Then
Inshallah.
inshallah, one day Hyderabad would be known for mechanical jobs.
Absolutely. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
For all the students, whatever decision you make or you take, back up your decision. Have trust and faith in it, and inshallah you will succeed.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I would like to say just before we conclude, a lot of times when we're young, we've all been through college and university, and at the end of university, you've got this question about what to do next, and what else can I do to you look up at people who are in very good positions or have big businesses or earning lots of money or whatever you're aspiring to, and you look up to them and you think how do I get there? But I think the important thing to understand is your risk is guaranteed by Allah, so you don't really need to worry about your risk. How you get there is important. You have to keep it halal. Your niyat should be right, and as long as you keep doing the right things, inshallah, you will eventually get to somewhere. You will be happy. So you might not realize it now. So 10 years from now, you might be happy in a very different place, Ibrahim. So you might actually like doing something else, and you eventually, wherever we end up, we're almost always very comfortable with that, inshallah. So we all have different ideas. I say I didn't want to be here where I am now, but now that I'm here, I'm pretty happy about it. And that's the same with everything, so just keep doing the right things. Make sure your niyat is good, and just stay away from anything that's wrong or however hard it might be. Just stay away from those things. Eventually, your risk will come to you without even you realizing it. Inshallah.
Good point. Thanks.
Very good point, mashallah.
So I think we'll end here. So we'll just you can refer back to this recording, like I said earlier. Make sure you get the links in the chat box before you leave, and it'll be nice to hear from all of you when when you, in a few years' time, when you've done very well in life, inshallah, we'll come back and maybe see each other again.
Okay.
I think
Jazakallah everybody for your time. I know it has gone, but out of our context, and you people have pitched in your time, precious time. I know it might be morning, early morning, and I don't know what time zones we are in, but alhamdulillah, jazakallahu khair. And I think this session will help us how to develop and overcome the challenges, and so it will for the betterment of the society for each one of us.
Jazakallah Sana for organizing this, and
you are a very good host. Jazakallah Khalid. Jazakallah Khalid sir. I'm really thankful to you. I was like, okay, my half of the work is done, and beautifully, mashallah, you have carried it beautifully. Jazakallah, and even others on the board for your valuable suggestions, based on the deen and also based on how the world works. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, we can conclude this just on MEDN about, after speaking one-on-one with students and the doubts.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right. Bye. Allah Hafiz.
Fine. If there's anything else we can help us, I'll speak to you separately, inshallah. If there's anything else we can do to help, not just on this topic, but anything else. I think Shujat, where did you? Oh, you're not from Aligarh, but
no, that's not. Yeah.
But I think
यही तो उनकी गलती है.
Wealth of talent, expertise within the Ali community that no matter what topic you want us to speak on, I think there'll be people enough to take that up, inshallah.
I was really happy. Yeah, me too. Because civil engineer, I have seen somebody who is a civil engineer and he did his master's in his field, and then even mashallah now he's having a good job and a good peace of mind. So I was really impressed with him, because back at my home I have a cousin who is a civil engineer from MJ, and then he's my elder brother, cousin brother. Then he went to I think he went to Saudi, and from that some famous university he did his masters. Then he moved to States, he did his double masters in civil engineering, and back to IIT he did Java, Python, and he has done his doing job. And he's also related to, and his wife is medical, practicing doctor, alhamdulillah, in USA. So he said me he had said me, see, what is the use, go with the money, because at the end of the day nothing is going to fill your stomach but money. So unfortunately, fortunately, what do I say, it was his opinion. So
Yeah, I
really
mean,
jazakallah khair for being here, Shajat bhai.
no, everyone opinion is obviously different, and whatever fits the bill, people do it. But alhamdulillah, I'm blessed, blessed, and my parents, have prayed a lot for me. So alhamdulillah, I'm here. So all I would say is, again, same, back your instinct, have faith in whatever you do, and inshallah you will succeed.
Yeah, I mean, we all, mashallah, we all know this, but like there's an ayat in the Quran which refers to this. Like everyone, we all have our plans, but Allah's plans are the best. So
We all plan and Allah plans, and it is the best
yeah,
of
so
plans.
fine. I think we'll stop
Yeah,
here.
it was nice meeting you, everyone.
Yeah,
Inshallah,
thanks a lot,
we
Shajat,
should
for
catch up.
inshallah. So inshallah, we'll see you again soon.
Anyway, inshallah, anybody coming to Leeds, feel free to contact us. Inshallah, we can catch up.
जरूर इंशाल्लाह. शकीब भाई आप आ रहे हैं अगले हफ्ते इंशाल्लाह. आप you're mute खालिद भाई, mute.
सॉरी, हम कह रहे हैं हम इनसे बात करते हैं, हमें पता नहीं भी आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, कुछ पता नहीं मुझे इंशाल्लाह, लेकिन हम बात करते हैं.
ठीक है, चलें इंशाल्लाह.
अल्लाह हाफिज.
चलें,
Okay.
ओके, चलें,
Okay.
ओके,
Assalamu alaikum.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम.